Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 255 of the High Sensitivity Podcast, and thank you for listening. If it's your first time here, we talk about video game and movie news as those we watched or played over the week. My name is Barry, along with my singular co host this week.
My name is Craig, seeking out a banana.
Ooh,
I don't know if
Bananza.
anybody.
No,
Yeah,
I get it. We
yeah,
hear it all
okay.
the time now playing that game.
I can't not hear that
I've heard it
anymore.
like over 200 times, I think, at this point, so.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But this week, before we get into Bonanza, we'll get into the news. As we didn't, there's some like a mixture of things that kind of went on this week. Overall, we first had the Pokemon Presents that came out. In my opinion, kind of underwhelming. We just
Yeah.
got new gameplay footage of Pokemon ZA on Switch 2. We did get the reveal of one of the new Megas, Mega Dragonite,
Hmm.
coming out. A bit more of like the phenomenon that Pokemon are mega evolving without trainers. We got to see some updates to the Pokemon TCG Pocket app. They are
Hmm.
releasing new Pokemon Concierge uh, videos, or the TV show. We're getting new episodes. They're also releasing another animated show, The Adventures of Pichu and Sir Farfetch'd,
Yes.
which looked very cute. And then we
It did
pretty
look
much
adorable.
we didn't get very much with Pokemon Champions. There's still probably a lot of questions to be asked about that one. That is the free, kind of free to play competitive Pokemon game. We then had
Hmm.
the Pokemon like brain teaser game that was
Yeah.
dropped day of, where it's daily puzzles that you use to flex your mind when you're in a struggle, or it does
Yeah.
for you, because that's all the rave now. Though it
Hmm.
is free to play on mobile, it is $10 on Nintendo Store, so keep that in mind if you're looking
Yeah.
for it.
I found that interesting, but I don't know. It actually kind of makes sense with the Nintendo store. So
And then we did get updates on the Pokemon World Championships that we are hosted in Anaheim. So
yeah.
for me, not what I wanted, to be honest. We were hoping to see
Right.
more games. I was hoping to see a release date for the GameCubes for Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon Gale to Darkness. That would have
Hmm.
been nice. I would have liked to have seen some more information on the classic games that I definitely love so much. And we didn't get to see any new spin-offs or anything like that. So it's
Right.
kind of stinks, but I don't know. I've come to expect it now. In the Pokemon Presents, like, they don't really typically do what people want them to.
Right.
For weeks now, they've been saying, "Oh, we're getting like a almost like a Final Fantasy like collection where they have like all the pixel remakes, 1 through 6 on Final Fantasy."
Hmm.
We keep getting told, "Oh, we're going to be getting Pokemon, two different versions where the 16-bit or the 8-bit versions are going to be out there up to Emerald, or yeah, Emerald would have been it, because we just got Shining Diamond and Brilliant Pearl." So,
Yeah, it always it just kind of seems like it's a time for them to remind you all the products they have.
yeah.
That's of all the different ways that you can access Pokemon, engage Pokemon. That's what that's what it felt like to me. So you're right. It was underwhelming. I know that you're a larger Pokemon head than I am, but you know, still it was still colorful, fun to watch there.
Yeah, one of these days I do want to go to those Pokemon like World Championship sort of things. They look
They
like,
look so much
yeah,
fun. Yeah,
yeah.
they do.
So one day. More personal, more like personal wise news. So Gundam Wing had its 30th anniversary earlier this week. Gundam and Sunrise did put out like a 30th anniversary trailer showing off the kind of like a remake dedication of the trailer or of the theme song that they used to do, but then also mixed in with some new animation, which makes people think we may be getting a reboot of Gundam Wing, which would be awesome. Gundam Wing is many people's first Gundam.
Yeah,
Not mine, but I love Gundam Wing.
yeah,
Uh, and that was released in 1994. So it's
that's
just one of those
wild.
things. It's insane where you know that anime has been out for a long time, and to be fair, it's it is so 90s coded because I'm rewatching it now
Okay.
since that anniversary trailer came out, and I'm like, you know what, like this still holds up. Like this is still just fun.
Yeah.
It's still just fun to watch. So
Yeah,
I hope
I
we.
love when stuff like that like stands the test of time
Yep.
and it's watchable now, you know.
Mm. Yeah, I just hope they do come out. Whether it's a, I feel like now they just need to kind of re-update the animation and probably keep the same story, just like a slight reboot, and
Mhm.
probably people would buy it or watch it for that matter. Mario Paint is being added to the SNES catalog, and it takes advantage of the Switch 2 mouse controls. You cannot do this on Switch 1, just so people know you would need a mouse in order to do
Right.
it. But it's nice to see that we're getting these types of weird games come
Mhm.
onto it because Mario Paint would have been really difficult to do just with a regular controller. Now that you have a
Oh
mouse,
yeah.
it's very much more capable of doing these types of games, and hopefully we get to see more of those things. We may even see like point and click adventure games because
Oh
you can
yeah.
click with the mouse feature on there. So good
Yeah,
idea, and we have to see how it works out for them.
they need to add as much stuff utilizing that mouse feature as possible, you know, especially I'm liking that they're not waiting for Metroid Prime 4 to really like that's going to showcase it definitely,
Yeah, for sure.
but just keep adding things that utilize that because that was one of the most exciting features that struck me when they had first announced the Switch 2.
hmm Speaking of rumors, we are getting a lot of Nintendo rumors about Nintendo
Oh my
Direct
god.
coming. It feels like it's
So
every
many.
day.
So
Every
many.
day we're supposed to be getting one, and they keep going, oh, we're getting it in July. By the time we're recording this, and by the time you see this, July could be over.
Yeah.
So, maybe if we see it mid-August or something like that, just because there is a lot of question marks for Nintendo's holiday season. Metroid is supposed to come out, but we
Right.
don't have a date. Pokemon's coming out. We do have a date for that. That's October. So it's just a
Mhm.
matter of trying to put the pieces together of what games Nintendo is putting out this year, and hopefully we get more of an idea of what other Switch 2 games are coming out in 2026. Because that's not something we know a lot of just yet.
Right. Did you hear the latest rumor about how there's going to be maintenance? So the Nintendo eShop is going to be inaccessible on Thursday for an hour and a half and people are designating that as the time frame because they're like, "Oh, why would it be offline
People are
for
desperate. People are
It's
desperate for anything at this point.
every rumor, every rumor."
They're just salivating at it at this point.
Really? Yeah.
Sony did two things in the last 2 weeks. One, they released the Flex Strike, which is a wireless flight stick. We are seeing things like Microsoft Flight Simulator come over to PlayStation, and probably other maybe Ace Combat games will take advantage of this. It's nice to see that we are getting like more controllers for more case uses to
Mhm.
make it more immersive. I'm all for like making a game more immersive as long as it's not hurting anyone.
Oh yeah, of
And
course.
then we had Sony lawsuit on Tencent's game Light of Mot Motaram. I want to say Motharam, but it doesn't have an H. It's Motaram.
Right.
Um, if you remember, this was a trailer for a game, and it is very much Horizon Forbidden
Yeah.
West Zero Dawn coded.
Yeah.
It has robot, like machine slash animals. The grass almost has kind of this texture slash orange tinge to it, like Forbidden West did. So
Mhm.
Sony, of course, is jumping in on a lawsuit, trying
Of
to
course.
sue them for the slavish clone that they say it is. And I thought that was
Yeah.
strange wording on
Strange.
Sony's
Yeah.
part, but they claimed that the game is so similar that it confused consumers. So, whether or not Forbidden West was a commercial success or not, I personally loved it,
Mhm.
and it's still one of my favorite PS5 games to date here. This game did look very much like
Yeah.
Horizon, and anybody with a brain who played Horizon probably sees that, oh yeah, this looks a lot like it. Now, Tencent is usually releasing their games like these for free to play or
Mhm.
freemium sort of game where there is a lot of microtransactions that come into it. But definitely, if you're a young gamer and you were looking for something Horizon Zero Dawn and you're like, I can't remember the game, let me look up girl main protagonist, machine, world, animal type things, you may get this Tencent game instead. And I guess
Right.
that would confuse people, but if if you're a gamer, you already know this stuff.
Yeah, which one seemed closer to you in resemblance? Was it the, Tencent one and Horizon or Pal World and Pokemon?
It was this one. This one looks
Yeah,
so much more like it. Yeah, like at least Power World, it does look a lot like Pokemon, but there are so many other things under the surface that Power World and Pokemon are just completely separate on. Where like machine monsters battling machine monsters, the
right,
paragliding is uncannily like Aloy's device. So it's just like you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see whether or not a gaming company wins a lawsuit that it tries to make. But
right.
I feel like if anything, they're just trying to get the game torn down so that way, messaging doesn't get mixed or not. It feels kind of weird just because this trailer for Light of Moderum has been out for a while. So it's not like it's a surprise by any means. So a part of me wonders whether or not we are getting some news on like Horizon 3 at some point. We are a couple
Wow.
years removed
Yeah, we are.
from the game, so are we gonna is Forbidden West 3 is probably not what it's called, but Horizon Beyond Earth 3,
Yeah,
is that what's coming?
Beyond After Earth.
Yeah.
Did it come out, what was it, 2002?
I think so. I know it was pretty early on the PS5's lifespan. Allow me to double
That
check
is
that as we
I'm, like, realizing how long it's been now. I feel like that would have
Yeah,
been, like
2022. Well done, February 8th.
wow, wow.
Oh, you
That
know what? That's no, it is. It is. Yeah.
that's a while. I'm interested in your theory, Barry. I'm not sure, but, like, that if they're attacking it now, like, out of nowhere, like you said, this is not some trailer that came up overnight and just all of a sudden created all this buzz and they're responding with a lawsuit. Like, it's been up for a while. They could have jumped on this at any moment. So, now I'm curious, uh, if there's gonna be any movement with a new Horizon being announced.
Yeah, hopefully we do. I'd like to hear some more news about a new Horizon game. I
Right.
would like to see the trilogy, and I still think with more time, like just to see them do more with the Horizon engine or the Gorilla engine would be
Yeah,
fantastic.
it would.
That still is one of the best looking games
Oh, it's phenomenal. Yeah, it
that I've
looks
ever
great.
seen. So hopefully we get that. We then have some smaller news as we get a Battlefield 6 trailer. The trailer kind of seems like it would show some story to it. Maybe
Mhm.
story mode is coming back. I do love story mode in these first person shooter games.
Yeah,
And I would just like to see something more, in a word, grounded than Call of Duty, where Call of Duty, we're at this point getting Beavis and Butthead
I know.
skins and family. No, it's American Dad skins
American Dad's
in the
up, yeah,
game. So
right
it's
now.
just like they're taking any sort of paid advertisement that they can and put these goofy characters in the game. I'll admit I was a shill. I did buy the Gundam one. I love the Gundam when they released that, but
Yeah,
regardless, I just to see something that's more like focused on maybe a story mode and more
right.
multiplayer instead of everything being catered toward Warzone, it feels like nowadays. So
Yeah.
we, we'll see. Call of Duty is still just as big as it ever was, and to see Battlefield, competition breeds better competition. So hopefully that's what we get with it.
Right, and we're slated for a new one. What, we're 3 months away, 4 months away
Yeah.
already for
Yep.
Black Ops 7,
Yeah. We're supposed to hear more about that too coming up
right?
soon. M- Microsoft now comes and scales back. Outer Worlds 2 is going to be $70.
Thank you
We
for
shouldn't be
talking about
praising them.
this.
Yeah, we shouldn't be praising them for this.
No,
It feels like
no.
I don't know, and I'll talk about it a bit more in like my games because it was like a little bit of a rant this time around,
We
and
love a
I
good
know
rant.
better. Yeah, but they kind of just said and came out, hey, we're making the game back to 70 after the outrage of it being 80. I don't know how much outrage it was getting, to be honest. I've I know I shouldn't accept games becoming $80. I really shouldn't, but
Right,
I didn't pay $80 for Mario. It cost me an extra 50 with the digital edition, so it doesn't
right,
feel like it was as forced upon me as it was. And this game will Outer Worlds 2 will also be available on Game Pass. So you run into, I'm not really paying $80 in a way, but
Mhm.
it all depends, each to their own. I'd really
I
like
thought
games to go back to 50 to $60 because they make a
I
good point
know.
about how, like, this year has been the age of games being masterpieces, but not, the full price. Take for
Right.
example, Expedition 33 is the main game that everyone talks about. $50. And that
Right.
game is technically sound, works, is awesome, and everyone really loves it.
Right.
So why is that game $50, but Outer Worlds 2 is 70 or 80, or Bonanza is 70, or Mario Kart is 80? Like, what? I feel like if developers were more upfront with why they do these things, we may understand and begin to recognize it. Because if Mario Kart World, for example, is, it is $80, but we find out that all the DLC is included, updates and new tracks will be added for a certain period of time. I think, I think $80 is warranted. But, Outer Worlds 2, we probably weren't getting DLC for free, to be honest.
Right.
But
Um, what was Split
$70 we'll take.
Fiction? Split
Split
Fiction was
Fiction was also 50. Was also a $50 game.
arguably also a game of the year that will probably be in discussion.
Mhm.
Throwing that point out there. I thought this was a little bit embarrassing because if you're Microsoft and you're going to take this leap of jumping a price, do you feel like Outer Worlds 2 is the right game to be the maiden voyage for that? This is their first attempt at it, right? This is their
Yep.
Mario Kart World. Is this the game to do that? It's not.
Yeah. It
It's not a surprise they walk it back. I mean, Outer Worlds 2 has its fan base. I like Outer Worlds 1, and I can't wait to play 2 on Game Pass, by the way. Uh, but I don't that being said about the quality of what they're and that showcase they had looked really good, but this is not the game to try that on. I think they squandered it. Like if you're dropping another Halo or something, try it on that.
yeah.
The new Gears, try it on that. Like I don't know. I don't think this was the right game, and it's not a surprise kind of that they are walking this back.
Yeah, there's a time and place, I think, for them to introduce an $80 game. And you almost feel like Halo's dead at this point. We haven't seen
Yeah,
Halo in such a long time. And would have been nice to see it at Summer Games Fest. We did not.
yeah. I
It
don't know.
just feels like with everything going on with Xbox, they're in kind of too much of a mess to be
Hmm.
really asking people, "Hey, we want you to spend more on our games," despite the fact that we just raised prices on all of our controllers, all of our consoles, and we're, they're I'm waiting for them at this point to be raising Ultimate again. So,
Right.
it's it to figure that out. And on top of that too, we are looking at the Xbox Ally pricing is starting to get leaked. It's almost all but confirmed at this point. The pricing leak is in euros, so the price isn't far off from what we see. We see the lower version of the Xbox Ally being at 599 euros. That equals about 613 bucks. So
Hmm.
I could see it being a $600 machine. And then the Xbox Ally X, the however you want to say, the beefed up one, was around $1,064. It's 899 euros. So that's where that conversion comes place. I could see that being $1,000, but we do see usually that the consoles are slightly more expensive in Europe. So maybe
Right.
we're seeing a $500 and a $900 version because that beefed up version, does have 24 gigs of RAM and some other stuff added to it. But is is this just going to be a, like, Xbox is trying to put a lot of stuff into their play anywhere portion of things, but is it going to pay off? That's kind of the biggest thing that I'm waiting to see. This market has now suddenly become very, very crowded. And
Yeah.
while, yeah, it sounds nice to have like the whole Xbox Series X and Game Pass library at your fingertips, if it won't let you play your Steam games, or won't let you play this game, or it's very hard to mod or very hard to emulate, because I know that's what the Steam Deck and these other ROG allies are used for. What? where does this fit into everything? The fact that you can run the
Right.
Xbox launcher from it is the main attraction here. Yes, Xbox has a lot of stuff going on, but then you also need your subscription to
Right.
it, and that is a monthly cost if you don't already have it.
Right.
To be honest, so
I don't know.
it's a discussion to be had, and whether or not this is a failure and how it affects Xbox is kind of the next portion. Where
Right.
if they don't move these units, what does it mean for it? You know, is this just
Y-
was this a collaboration where Xbox went, "Here's our platform, use it," or did Xbox come to ROG and was like, "Can we make this?" I think
Right.
who came to who and who paid for what is probably a big portion of how this is going to go and how and
Mhm.
who it affects the most.
Yeah, I'd be curious as to that. And I don't know. It feels like they're throwing a lot of things at the wall, seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
And it's just like I think it's the wrong last couple of years to do that. As they see their two rivals making strides in other areas or maintaining a specific area of the business and flourishing in it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. But that's all I had for news this week. What about you?
I just had a weird thought. You remember when the Switch was the only handheld like 5 years ago?
The only viable one, yeah.
Yeah, the only viable one. Um, I guess I'll stick to Microsoft news. The CEO is saying that the company is thriving despite the 9,000 layoffs that they had in July and all of the stuff that we just talked about. You added to that, and I think we discussed it the last episode, but cancellations, Perfect Dark of
Yep.
Everwild, Project Blackbird, and now they're well, as of what date was it? I think it was the 26th. Sorry, the 18th. As of the 18th of July, you can no longer purchase film and TV shows on Xbox. New film and TV shows on Xbox. So now that portion, which if we remember, was it the Xbox 360 that was the first thing to offer that?
Mm,
So Xbox 360 was the first to offer that, which means Microsoft was the first to offer that. And here they are sunsetting that portion of their business as well. If you do have something or content already purchased on the Microsoft store, you could still view it. It's just that you can't purchase anything new. And normally if I saw something like that, I would take a step back and just say, well, there's all of these different streaming options that people have and ways to purchase, and but you add that to the ice cream that is everything that we've been talking about for the last I don't know how many weeks of Microsoft's choices. It just I don't know, the brass in there has a very interesting thing going on right now. And like I don't
yeah.
know what that round table looks like. So, but that's something that's done with them. I know we've been talking a lot about Microsoft here. I had another layoff thing which makes me sad, but Supermassive Games, they're laying off 36 people. As a result, also, their directive 80/20. I don't know the right way to say that. 8,020, probably directive 80/20,
Yeah.
which was slated to be released in September or October. That's getting delayed as a result. Makes me sad because I mean, this is the Until Dawn group. This is the Quarry. This is all the oh my god, what's that series? Um,
The anthology, the dark
yes,
anthology, yeah.
thank you. The Dark Picture Anthology Group, which they were almost releasing like a game a year. They were like an author that releases a book a year, you know. They have their specific niche in gaming themselves as to what they've been able to produce. I mean, Until Dawn was still blew my mind when it came out. It was just there was nothing else like it. And I know that layoffs happen. I feel like they laid off some other people earlier this year, like in the winter time, like a January, February. And seeing the game get pushed is just unfortunate. Although I wasn't that excited as I was for other games that they have released, I was kind of looking to see what directive 80/20 was going to bring to the table. So I don't know. Another layoff scenario here,
Yeah.
which doesn't feel good. And I don't know, that game did look good. So we'll see, how fast they can bring it out. Um, and then I only had one other one. I'm so glad you touched on some of the ones that you did, but the group, the Claire Obscure creators for Expedition 33, the Claire Obscure creators for Expedition 33. Wow, they had a meeting with Square Enix, and the meeting was to exchange ideas, uh, visions of and just I guess all around just kind of pal about you know their creative I don't know, their creative works. I mean,
Hmm.
there's Claire obscure people who have definitely played and are revered Square Enix games. So I thought that that was a nice thing to see. Just two outstanding studios getting together to share creative ideas, and it just kind of shows the the trajectory that that this game that Claire Obscure has done for that group. So that was really fun to see. I hope they come out with a sequel. They left some info at the end and kind of went in on some things that you could definitely build a second game off of. But I think we should really keep an eye on them.
Yeah, I hope they do something with. I don't know if they need to do a sequel to Expedition 33. It would almost have to be something completely different, like on the writers' end, like whether or not you finally get, what the writers are doing and how they interact with the world. But none of that family, other than Mael, is who I want to interact with. Like, I'm sorry, Clay is a B word.
Yeah,
The the dad I do
she is
the
pretty
dad
mean.
I do support. The mom is also a mess. So
She
it's kind
yeah.
of like, and depending on the ending you pick for Mael, who knows what you did at that
Depending, I
point.
love that.
Yeah.
Depending on the ending. Yeah. Yeah, Renoir was that was a guy.
Yeah, he was a good guy. In the end, he's just trying to get his family out of a painting. That's all he's trying to do. But I like the idea of those two sharing information. I hope that Square Enix can use it to their advantage. Everyone kind of complains that Final Fantasy needs to go back to turn base, and me personally, like it's okay to experiment with new things. The next Final Fantasy can go back to turn based. That's no issue. But I loved 16 for what it was.
Mhm.
16 was this fun Devil May Cry esque
Yep.
game with fun, flashy combat that you got to make it your own because of the abilities of all of the icons you got.
Right.
Whereas turn based, we do see people have a lack of attention for some turn-based games, and I love Final Fantasy 13, but sometimes that game's just isn't. There can be a lot of waiting around for your bar to fill up,
Right.
the ATB bar to fill up, and
Right.
then you run into games like the difference between Final Fantasy 7 now and Final Fantasy 7 in the past. Yeah, that was more of a limit action based game, but we also have the previous games that were also turn based. So there's all of these mixtures of what Square Enix has done. Let if this gives them some inspiration for how to put their own twist on turn based combat, then I'm all for it. And I just don't want it to be a clear cut copy of what Expedition 33 did, because
Right.
that's what made it feel fresh, is the fact that you were rewarded for dodging and parrying in different ways, and the active button presses during everybody's turn made it almost, one, a skill check, but two, just a more interactive game where
Right.
you weren't just picking the person's moves and then waiting for them to do it.
No, it's a good point. Yeah, that remains Expedition 33's specific uh outlier in terms of what made it different. Or I guess outlier's got a negative connotation, but that was what kept it really really fresh and
Hmm.
got a lot of praise. So, but I don't know. I would like to see Final Fantasy go back to turn based. Some of my favorite memories playing games growing up were turn based Final Fantasy games,
Yeah,
and that told an amazing story, took you to a different world, had you locked in for what felt like 100 hours. I'm realizing that a lot of those older ones were more like a 50 to 60, but it
yeah.
felt like 100 hours because of just how attached you felt to the characters. So,
So we will see. Hopefully, it does the best for them. But I'm gonna go into games slash slight rant. More of an update on Death Stranding 2, and then of course the big game this time was Donkey Kong Bonanza.
banana.
What did you
Um,
play?
I finished Death Stranding 2, and I have, like, I guess I don't know if we're gonna do a spoiler cast or whatever, but I do have what would be considered my final thoughts. Bonanza, of course. I also started Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, and I have
Yep.
some thoughts on that as well. So those are my 3 for the week.
Okay. So we'll go into Death Stranding. You'll talk about Wuchan, and then we can both bounce back and forth with Bonanza there. So Death Stranding 2, my update is I am now further into Australia and I'm getting further into the game. And I still feel the same way. It is still an upgrade almost in every way. It's more interactive, it's more fun. I The only thing I am having an issue with sometimes is the boss battles do really kick my ass, and that's my fault, not really Hideo Kojima's fault. But in order to dive and dodge enemy attacks, you need to be aiming down your sight, and then you can press the X button to dodge. And to me, it feels sometimes counterintuitive to aim at the enemy to dodge rather than just being able to dodge at any point. Um, I get with the layout controls that it can be difficult to kind of get that going, but for you who finished the game, I imagine you're going to tell me it's worth my time.
Yeah.
It is very.
Yeah, I think Craig said it best last episode. You and I ended highly on Expedition 33 with wondering what was going to top it. I I knew that Ghost of Yote was going to be a heavy contender. I was excited for Death Stranding. I bought the collector's edition. I wanted to give Hideo all my money because he's essentially been fueling my love for video games, or as a part of fueling my love for video games since I was a kid. And I love this game. This is a game for me. And I know for a lot of other people too. Now I've read reviews. There are some issues that have arisen about pacing, which is part user controlled because you can streamline the story if you want.
Mhm.
You don't have to do all the deliveries. You can unlock some. I had somebody who started Death Stranding after me that I know and beat it like 20 game hours before me. But I wanted to, go around and, fix everything up, all the roads, all the mines, like all the different things that you can do. And I just wanted to explore the world. And he gave us what he gives us, what Hideo always gives us. He gives us immersive characters, um, a weird story that kind of dances with dark and macabre and funny
Mhm.
and weird, like and kind of whimsical. And it was just it's a wild ride at the end. This doesn't ruin anything for anybody listening or watching or you, Barry, but there is a point where it's like the point of no return. It's kind of early. Like there's the missions are numbered in order, and I think it's like order 42 or 43. I would do everything that you want to do before that. Because it's a wild ride at the end. It's like mission, 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 mission. Um, there's a lot of story that gets cleared up. So for those of you that might be mid game, and I don't know if you feel like it's repetitive or something like that, they reward you with some pretty crazy stuff towards the
Yeah.
end. And I don't know. I loved exploring Australia. I loved getting to know Rainy. I loved getting to know Tomorrow. Like all of these different people that got introduced in this game. And when I was done, I spoke about it with one of my friends who also beat it, and naturally, I was 60% right as to what I understood about it. So we traded ideas, and then I became 95%. A Hideo game. You're like, I don't know
Yeah.
if this is supposed to be what it is, but what you can't deny is it looks fantastic. You can argue certain things about the combat like that. I felt that, and I think I said it last episode that I would have loved a little bit more BT action, forced BT action because you kind of have to go and do it yourself, and then there are story staged moments where you do have to do it. Um, but it's my favorite game this year. I think.
Hmm.
I think it's my favorite game. I think that it just beats out Expedition 33. I was very happy that I played it. It's a good nod for portals. Anybody who has a portal, play this game on your portal like at certain times, especially if you have to do deliveries back and forth. There's not a big story moment. Like that's what got me through a lot of this game
Yeah.
as quickly as I was able, because like this game came out in June and I shouldn't have beat it this quickly. It was definitely the handheld that helped.
Yeah.
Um but I love the game a lot, and I'm kind of you should feel sad when you beat a game. Like, that should how it should move you, and, like, I was sad
Yeah.
that the game was over.
Hmm.
I have a little bit of, end story stuff to do, because I did pass that point of no return, so I wanna do all the deliveries and five-star everyone, and I'm like, I think I have 5 left. Uh, but I was super, super thrilled with my experience. It was worth every penny, and, it's a big recommend for me.
Well, good, good. I'm very, very happy about that. My my main thing that I do just want to slightly just give us very slight rant about is just remember people that when you have the Xbox Game Pass stuff that I unfortunately bought let's MLB the Show's like early edition, and now MLB the Show 24 is not available on Game Pass anymore. So it's one of those things where you bought DLC, and now because you only accessed it through Game Pass is gone. You now can't access, the stuff you bought. You have to buy the game. Yes, the game is cheaper now because then MLB 25 is out, but it's just one of those things where I was like, that's right. I forgot. That's the backlash of doing something via just getting through cloud gaming, and
Right,
I just wish I had a warning instead, but I did not get a warning. It just kind of disappears without you having to say anything.
right.
So, I didn't like that
No,
with it, but that's the world we live in. That's the
that
streaming
is.
world. It gets as soon as it's there, it can be taken away at any moment. You don't own it.
Yeah, that's the argument. Well, I'm glad you reminded our listeners and viewers about it because that's what you should remember about Game Pass. We praise Game Pass a lot for what it gives us as gamers. Maybe not as a
Mhm.
business model or anything like that, but at least what you and I and Craig are able to try as a result of it. But that's just the one thing you got to remember.
So tell me about Fallen Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. Is that what it is? Wu Chang?
Yeah,
Chang?
Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. I had my eye on this game, not a large eye, but I had my eye on this game because I was on. It looked like a promising Souls like, and perfect Game Pass game. I'm gonna say that this is a game that people should try. It's not gonna win Game of the Year. There is some kind of jankiness with some of the graphics, and it didn't release really well to the PC version. They had to like immediately get a patch out to fix that. So they're kind of making their making their way back from negative and mixed reviews back up on Steam and all that. And but it's a good game. It's a very interesting premise. You wake up as like this female pirate named Wu Chang. She doesn't remember who she is. It's in the sh- it's in the Ming Dynasty, specifically the Shu. The sh- yeah, I guess it would be the Shu Dynasty. Anyway, the area is affected by this disease that mutates people into bird-like creatures, hence the falling feathers. So you already know how the souls combined with that is going to look. There's going to be some type of like plagued villager kind of thing that you have to fight, and then it kind of goes up from there. Enemies start becoming more bird like. There was a really cool boss that I fought that had like a woman's head and then kind of a bird's mouth beneath it. Like it's really grotesque, but the combat is really really good. It's a good game. I'm having a lot of fun with it. They have some things that are normal to the Souls like series. If you die, you lose a certain amount of your experience, and you have to go back and get it. If you die again, you lose it. But they added something else called like a madness meter, where When you kill humans or humanoid enemies, your madness goes up. And when you kill things affected by the feathering, as they call it, anything that's like kind of that feathered bird-like enemy, it goes down. The more your madness goes up, your damage goes up that you inflict, but you also receive more damage. The meter hits the top, you get invaded by an inner demon, which is essentially like being invaded by a player in any of the Souls like games. So it makes you kind of try to balance your madness meter of do you want it high when you're fighting a boss and like risk playing with fire like by dealing more damage but getting it, or do you want to keep it low so that you don't have anybody invade you, you know? So that was an interesting mechanic that they added. The other thing that I want to touch on that I like about it is the first area. It's an interesting level design. Everything's interconnected, so you open the shortcuts just like a lot of Souls games. But that first area and the first level, I spent about 10 game hours
Okay.
just finding stuff. And if you go linear, if you go where the game is suggesting you go based off of character dialogue, things you find, you'll miss. I would have missed two bosses, maybe three in
Mhm.
my time so far. But if you keep exploring, there is just thing after thing and area after area, and it made you kind of really appreciate how they designed it. So if I had to give it like a out of 10 right now, I would give it probably a 7.5 to an 8. It's
Mhm.
actually a pretty formidable Souls like. It's not Lies of P. That's probably the most recent Souls game outside of anything FromSoft that I would consider like a formidable Souls like. But this one is definitely worth a shot, and we keep saying it all the time. It's a great Game Pass game. So
Bonanza.
yes,
So, Donkey Kong Bonanza, what feels like really the first true Switch 2 exclusive that came out, despite, some other games that we got when the Switch 2 came out. Donkey Kong Bonanza, I'd say, is a lot of fun. There's a lot of good things here with the destructibility and, just kind of happening your way on bananas just by smashing the heck out of everything in your way in a lot of ways. I have I have not finished the game. I recently went to the Divide and I went to the ostrich area, which is what we've seen in a lot of the gameplay trailers that came with it. So the rest of the bonanzas I still have yet to figure out. And I know the other level is zebra, so that it makes sense we're going to see those couple of bonanzas that are there.
we flip flopped. I did the other one first, so I did the
Oh, gotcha.
zebras. So I have the ostrich to go to.
Yeah. So we're about at the same point, I will say, where I do love the game. And do I think it's a 10 or a masterpiece? I don't. Um, I will say, like, the camera is very bad. I think it's hard to do a camera in this type of game, especially when you're smashing and digging underground. It's very hard to tell where you're going or what you're hitting and things like that. There's this one challenge room where you're punching sand out of the way, trying to dodge thorns and stuff like that, and the camera just is very rough. It's a very hard thing to do. And I think they did the best with what they could with the camera. And what I'm hoping for and what I've heard is I'm at the point where I did 100% both the water level, the in a way, and then I
Hmm.
100%ed the mine area.
Okay.
So I'm at this point now where I I'm kind of getting burned out of smashing everything. It's kind of weird to say. So I think for the most part I need to start mainlining it and doing it that way. But I just feel the need to get all of the bananas I can because of the skill tree. And now with the skill tree, it's just needing more bananas to extend your bonanza or extend this. Like I like beelined being able to punch through 5-star stuff, getting my sonar up to max and collecting up to max. So now that I have that, I feel like I don't need to grind through the rest of the game and I can just get abilities as I go along. But Bonanza is good, and I love
It is good.
Pauline. I
Pauline's
the
great. She's
game the
adorable.
game looks fantastic, and I really haven't run into too many frame dips as much as people say that there is. There is some. I don't
Yeah.
think it's as many as people say, but I do think like this is definitely one of my favorite games. It'll probably be like a top 5 or top 10, but there is some things, and I'm gonna withhold like my full opinion until I finish the game.
Right. I'm with you on the burnout of smashing stuff. I went heavy in the beginning of the game, and then I didn't even make it as far as you. I didn't streamline the mine, but I didn't like 100% it. I kind of started going through that so that I can get it. I do find it interesting. I love when a game throws in a good go here or go here, choose your own ending kind of thing. So when you did get to the divide and you had the choice, to go and do whichever one. Like, I don't know, the characters are fun, and it is kind of nice just seeing what is out there to explore and smash through, but you do if you're looking for every single thing, it does get daunting
Yeah,
after a while. Um this is a great game. It is not I wouldn't consider it I wouldn't consider it a masterpiece, I don't think, but I also haven't beat the game yet. It could go 0 to 100 from where both of us are, and all of a sudden become this entirely different game, who knows? But it's fun. It is a strong game to put out as like kind of like that main, especially amidst the where's the new Mario questions that were happening. Uh and I like it a lot. I mean, I'm definitely going to beat it. So it's a very 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 good game. I have friends that's the only game they're playing right now.
hmm
Um and or they bought the Switch 2 just for that. Maybe they're a lot more casual than you or I are, Barry. And to them it's the best thing since sliced bread. Like there's nothing ever that has ever been as good as this game ever.
yeah.
But I find it to be a very strong 8 or 9, like you were saying, a top 5 probably by the end of the year, maybe top 10, at the worst. So, yeah,
Okay.
Bonanza.
So those are the games I played. When it comes to TV shows and movies, I have not watched anything. I'll be honest, I've just been far too busy.
Oh, no, I completely understand. I watched Happy Gilmore too.
Okay.
My wife and I were also powering through Love Island USA, which I don't know if you could be on the internet without hearing about something from that show. It's a great show. Watch it. It's Love Island. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's people trying to find love on an island. Young, nice-looking people who are trying to get over their player playette ways and find somebody to spend the rest of their life with. You can imagine how that would look in a show, but it is pretty popular, and I see why. That algorithm is very smart, Barry, and uh, I think that you can infinitely make shows like that just by doing that same algorithm. I don't know. But Happy Gilmore too. If you saw Happy Gilmore, you should see this. It's been 21 years, 20 years since the last Happy Gilmore, and I like Adam Sandler, and this is not going to be a rant, but I'll explain why I like this movie.
Okay, so you like Happy Gilmore too.
Really like Happy Gilmore too. And I'll tell you why. Adam Sandler in certain movies I know haven't recent movies have not been rev- uh, reviewed well as some of his earlier comedy, but in this movie you can tell he just wanted to do a fun movie, have everybody reprise their roles, and just have some comedy, have some classic Adam Sandler comedy, and that's what we got. Not only did we got I think both his daughters and his wife in this. He had Shooter McGavin, so Christopher McDonald from the original come back, as well as like many other people. Bad Bunny's in it and is hilarious in it. Um, and Ben Stiller came back for it. There's like a bunch of different roles that were reprised that really kind of just made this really nice for anybody who has seen Happy Gilmore and love Adam Sandler's movies or that movie in particular. Uh, it's easily accessible. A lot of people have Netflix, so you can watch it anytime you want. It is free on Netflix, and it was just really nice to have, Happy come back with this different thing he has to do. Still involves golf, still using a hockey stick in order to hit the balls and all that, but especially when he's coming back and playing more, but it's a great it's a great film. So super excited I saw it. Is it going to be my favorite movie of the year? Probably not in terms of execution, but I like that Adam Sandler has enough money where he just wants to do a film with all the people that he's met over the years and people that he's close to, and you never see him griping over numbers or anything like that. He just wants to make a movie with his
Yeah.
friends and have it be somewhat funny, and that's what he did. So,
Yeah, I feel like the release of this movie has brought on in the discussion of like there's a lot of people who love it and
right,
but then there's also people that go, how can you love this? Like it's not the original. Like
right.
it's not even close or in the same breath as being compared to the original, which I just think goes to show that the like nostalgia can really kill people and
Mhm.
really cloud the judgment that we have instead of just focusing on what the movie is and how it releases now. People can't help but to compare it to Happy Gilmore 1. And that's a completely different era of comedy and a completely different version of Adam Sandler who has since
Right,
changed and adapted. It's not going to be the same because
right.
if it was it would just be, you'd just be watching Happy Gilmore again.
Yeah.
And I do love to see like all of the cameos. I can't really wait to watch it. I hear Bad Bunny is fantastic
He's
in it, so
hilarious. He's
I
hilarious.
am very excited to see him get more of a chance in acting, as we've seen that he's funny in acting. He's good on like Saturday Night Live, and he's a fantastic artist. So it's nice to hear that you like it and that you separated like it. Yes, it's not Happy Gilmore 1, but it is a fun time, and it's you can have fun without needing to constantly compare it to the first.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's well said. That's well said. Yeah,
Per-
definitely recommend a watch for everybody on that one.
Perfect. Well, that's going to be it for this week's podcast. I do want to thank everybody for listening. If you are interested, please make sure to leave us a review, a like, or follow us on your podcast listening platform of choice. On YouTube, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment about what you think about Happy Gilmore 2, Bonanza, Death Stranding 2, what you think about Microsoft, the Sony lawsuit, or if anybody wants to talk Gundam Wing, I can do that too. Uh, so we appreciate everybody always listening and checking in and giving our podcast a chance. Hopefully, you guys have been liking us, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.
See you. I tried. I,
See ya.
I tried to do it for Craig. That way, the listeners still get that little bit of Craig in it. So I tried it. Have a good week, guys.
Have a good week.